Hello, I'm Jane Masters, and I'm here with Nancy Carter, member of the Hanover Select Board and representative to the Planning Board, and Kelly Dent, Vice Chair of the Planning Board. We're talking about changes to the Hanover Zoning Ordinance that citizens will be asked to vote on during all-day voting on Town Meeting Day, May 8th. Welcome, Nancy and Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the third year that the two of you have come to discuss proposed changes to the zoning ordinance. What do you have for us this year?
Well, Jane, we have only 5 zoning amendments there, and they're all relatively straightforward.
Okay, so let's begin with the discussion of the amendments.
Actually, before we begin, I thought I'd clarify the fact that as people see their warrant articles, that the articles will be voted, will show up on the warrant as Articles 2, 3, 4, and so forth. However, our amendments are numbers 1, so you'll see Article 2, Amendment 1, which can be a bit confusing, but while we are talking, we will refer to them in the order in which we have written them, and we will refer to them as Amendment 1. And I also wanted to let everyone know that, welcome to follow along, the town report is already on the town website. There is a hot link there in the upper right-hand corner. It says Town Meeting, and the paper copies, your hard copies, are going to be from the printers, we hope, by April 28th, Monday, and they're going, I'm sorry, April 30th is a Monday, and they're going to be in the Howe libraries, the Etna libraries, Etna General Store, and of course in Town Hall itself, and you can always pick up a copy in hardback, and they will be available to you at town meeting and in the gymnasium the day that you go to vote. So with that as our prelude, just to let you know first about Amendment 1, which has to do with more flexible parking lot design. Our Zoning Board of Adjustment recently deemed that automated vehicle stacking, sometimes known as puzzle parking, is an acceptable way of meeting off-street parking requirements. And these automatic or stacked parking mechanisms do not require as much space for each individual vehicle to maneuver. They can come in and out of these devices more readily than usual that we see in our flat lots. And therefore, we have removed the requirement for 270 square feet over and above the square footage dedicated to the parking space itself. For those of you who are concerned about denting the sides of your vehicles, we have indeed kept the requirement that each individual parking space will be 8 feet by 18 feet.
Thank you. So that's Amendment 1.
Yes.
Kelly, can you tell me about, or all of us, about Amendment 2?
I'd be happy to. So Amendment number 2 clarifies where recreational vehicles and equipment may be parked or stored. The zoning ordinance presently permits the parking and storage of recreational vehicles, but not the occupancy of those vehicles, as an accessory use, but only in residential lots. So the proposed amendment removes the word residential from section 1004.7, and this makes the provision applicable to any lot, not just residential lots. So this clarifies that recreational equipment may not be used for living, sleeping, business purposes, or housekeeping in any lot.
Thank you very much. Are we on to Amendment 3?
We
Nancy?
are indeed, which allows for better signage in recreational areas from a road. Currently, the signs that we have for recreational purposes, and I might use it as an example, the Proudy, fall into a category of signs that are limited to 1 square foot. As a result, the signs are not readily visible from the, I know, yeah, let's think of what 1 square foot is. And it's not readily visible from the road, too small often to accommodate the information that's needed for that recreation area or that event. Our proposed amendment creates a new category of recreation signs. They can be now as large as 12 square feet, not more than 2 of which may be located at the point of entry to the recreational area from a public road. So we think that our public will really benefit from this change.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amendment 4.
Amendment number 4. This deals with the review of front setback intrusions in the downtown and institutional zoning districts. So the zoning ordinance currently requires that the planning board review and approve small intrusions, and small intrusions meaning a handrail or maybe part of a ramp, that are in the front setbacks in downtown and institution zoning districts. Now, depending upon the type of intrusion, this requirement may conflict with our site plan regulations, which specifically exempt improvements for barrier-free access from planning board review. So the proposed amendment would substitute the zoning administrator for the planning board as the reviewing authority for this section, and then it removes the standards that the planning board would use to review these intrusions. So it's a little bit of housekeeping, this amendment. So.
Thank you. And you're also going to talk about number 5.
I am. The final amendment on the warrant this year is amendment number 5, which is the installation of solar systems. The 2017 town meeting endorsed the policy for the town to be ready for 100, which is using 100% renewable energy by the year 2050. But our current zoning ordinance does not provide for the installation of solar systems toward accomplishment of this goal. So the proposed amendment defines relevant terms, allows solar systems as principal uses by special exception in certain zoning districts and as an accessory use in all zoning districts except nature preserve. So the amendment also establishes location standards for ground-mounted systems, but it clarifies, though, that these systems do not count towards the lot coverage of the lot. And so they're not included in the calculation for the lot coverage. Now, roof-mounted systems may not exceed the height limits set for the district, except in the cases of downtown and institution zoning districts. And in those 2 districts, the limit of 20 feet above the building height will be permitted. And lastly, the amendment allows solar systems to share lots with other principal uses and accessory uses. And that's amendment number 5.
Wow, thank you. Nancy.
So actually, just as a conclusion to bring to people's attention the fact that the cover of your town report does show the town getting ready for 100. We now have solar panels and solar hot water panels on the top of our police station. So that's the picture that you are looking at the front of your town report. The reason that we do this kind of introduction to our citizens every year is that these amendments are, these articles are on the town warrant in Australian ballot, or a situation where from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, May 8th, you go into the voting booth and vote on them, so that you don't have people to be able to talk to you about them, in contrast to the other articles on the warrant, Articles 8 through 19, which are all part of the business meeting, which starts at 7 o'clock on May 8th. As a citizen, as a voter, you have the opportunity to vote early in the day for the first articles and then return for the business meeting, or to come a little bit early and vote on those articles and just take your seats in the gymnasium and stay on for the business meeting. We hope that as many citizens as possible can stay on for the business meeting or can come to the business meeting. We try to keep it to a 3-hour session, and doing our best, and it always is a good opportunity to meet your fellow citizens, and Julia Griffin always provides refreshments afterwards, so we look forward to seeing everybody the night of May 8th.
These proposed amendments are certainly worthy of your attention. Nancy and Kelly, thank you for taking time today to explain the amendments. And thanks to everyone on the planning board for their hard work on behalf of the town. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.